and that specifically you wish to enter a guilty plea to the charges of murder, for which the Commonwealth is recommending a life sentence, robbery first degree, for which the Commonwealth is recommending a 10-year sentence, and then a 5-year sentence on 2 counts of theft by unlawful taking over $500 automobile, 3 counts of theft by unlawful taking firearm, and a count of possession of handgun by a convicted felon, and another count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. And then with regard to the charge of persistent felony offender first degree, the Commonwealth is also recommending a life sentence. All of those sentences obviously to run concurrent to each other for a total sentence of life. The Commonwealth is opposed to probation and is seeking forfeiture of all items seized. Is that your understanding of the Commonwealth's plea offer, Mr. Profitt?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Profitt has been very adamant from the get-go, frankly, with me, that that's what he wanted. This is an odd thing that most of my clients typically want me to nitpick over every little thing I can in their case, to fight to get them the best deal possible. That's not what happened with Mr. Profitt. He immediately felt bad about what happened, and he has asked me to communicate his desire to enter this plea. I do feel obligated to state on the record that Mr. Profitt does have a long criminal history and has a history of some mental illness and has taken medications for that sort of thing in the past. We discussed that, and I did ask Mr. Profitt to consider KCPC, going to KCPC for an evaluation. He did not wish to do that. So after that, last time we were here, the court continued the case to today, spent some time with Mr. Profitt, and I am comfortable, not not completely. Well, let me say it this way: I am comfortable that Mr. Profitt understands his case. When we talk about his case, he assists me with facts of the case. When we talk about the law, he follows me, asks appropriate questions. And I feel that he does understand what he's doing here. But
I need to ask you some questions then under oath in order to accept your plea. If you would, sir, raise your right hand as best you can. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be truthful?
Yes, sir.
Or you may put your hand down. Would you state your name and address for the record?
Bradley Profitt, 410 West 7th Street.
Where did you live prior to being incarcerated, Mr. Profitt?
I lived in, I was at the VA Center over here on Boyles.
All right, thank you. Mr. Profitt, are you under the influence of anything today, medication or anything else that would affect your ability to think clearly and understand what you're doing?
No, sir.
Any other reason why you wouldn't be able to think clearly and understand what you're doing?
No.
You understand that if I accept your guilty plea in this case, that you'll be giving up your constitutional right to a trial by jury?
Yes, sir.
And you still wish to go forward with the plea?
Yes, sir.
Are you doing so of your own free will?
Yes.
Mr. Cochran's gone through some detail about the discussions that you've had with him. You acknowledge having the conversations that he referenced earlier?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Is there anything else that you feel like you need to discuss with him or would like to discuss with him before I accept your guilty plea to these very serious charges?
No, sir.
You feel like all your questions have been answered? You feel like you understand what your options are?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you, in considering all of your options, you feel like this is the option that you want to pursue at this time, which is the entry of a guilty plea to these charges?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any complaints or objections about the representation that you've received?
Oh, absolutely not. It's been phenomenal.
All right. Thank you. You have obviously indicated today that you wish to change your originally entered not guilty plea to a guilty plea, including a guilty plea to the charge of murder and the other charges that I read to you earlier. Are you doing that because you're telling me that you did in fact commit these offenses, including the charge of murder?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, Mr. Cochran, you've given a good explanation previously. Let me just ask you a couple of other questions. You are satisfied that he is entering this plea knowingly and intelligently and voluntarily?
yes, yes, Judge, I am.
And you're satisfied that he understands what his options are, he understands what he's doing by entering this plea?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Profitt, let me show you 2 documents. One is the motion to enter a guilty plea form. The other is the Commonwealth's plea offer form. Do you remember going over both of these with Mr. Cochran?
Yes, sir.
Looks like you signed both of them, did you?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about either one of them?
No.
Any questions about anything else related to the entry of your guilty plea?
No, sir.
All right, the court finds that Mr. Profitt's guilty plea has been knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently made. Court orders a pre-sentence investigation report May 24th.
Yes, sir.
We'll set final sentencing for May the 24th at 1 o'clock.